Do you live near Wembley Stadium? No, not near Wembley Stadium. So that meant it was probably stress related. It could have been an injury to the lungs by way to the heart. Is that your medical opinion? Yeah, but they were suggesting that it also could have been that he overdosed himself and that stopped him breathing and his heart just stopped, and by the time they got to him it was too late. That's the latest theory, I believe, that they were. The doctor who was hired out of Vegas to be with him during the training before the UK tour was in the house with Jackson. Yes, yeah. But is that because Jackson called him because he was feeling chest pains, or because he needed to be administered with this Demerol injection intravenously? He was living there. I mean, the thing is, the problem is that maybe if this doctor did perform some form of pulmonary cardio, whatever they called it, which might be a bit more what a trained doctor would do, and obviously, you know, you're going to get people who say, well, was it because of that he died? But then if this guy did whatever he was professionally trained to do, even if it was just more than CPR, you know, CPR might not have worked and he might have died anyway. You could have done nothing and he might have died anyway. But if the doctor did whatever was possible with his skills to try and get his heart to start again through any means, without endangering the situation any more, then obviously, you know, if you go into the hospital to have this, you know, with a heart attack, and you're going to be put through surgery of some sort, there's always the risk of dying, and sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. But I know they're gonna. This is going to be one of the. If it was something that, if he did perform something that was more than CPR, then they're going to start suggesting that, you know, they're going to put this big question mark over, was it, you know, if he didn't do this, would he still be alive? Which is a stupid, mute question, but I know how people like to say things like that, and that's part of human nature, to quote his song. I don't think Michael Jackson was prepared for his tour. No, I don't think so, because didn't he change the dates a little bit as well? He had some injuries. Injuries from what? I don't think he was fit enough at all. He was even said to be in a wheelchair, quite possibly. I think, to be honest with you, I think, you know, it's possible this tour might have been the thing that killed him, if it was stress related. Because when he was in London to talk about the O2 tour, and I think I mentioned this already on here, or with you, or I can't remember with whom, he looked really, really old. I mean, he's only 50, but when he came on that stage, he couldn't talk properly. He looked really thin and gaunt, and, you know, I remember commenting about how you get these old rock stars like McCartney or Collins or Peter Gabriel or the Rolling Stones or whoever, who go on tour around the world every year or every other year or whatever, and they're a lot older than Michael Jackson, and yet they looked younger and more, you know, when you see them, you can say, yeah, they're going to be able to go around the world and do a world tour. And he was only just going to do a UK tour, and he didn't even look capable of that. I mean, to be honest with you, on that stage in O2, whenever that was, he didn't look capable of doing a tour in a few schools. Well, that's probably not a good idea to give that kind of. Is it? Actually, let me rephrase that. I don't think he'd even been able to do a concert in a park, let alone do a UK tour of that many dates. Looking at him at that time. I don't know what he was thinking, to be honest. I mean, maybe he was under pressure for debts, but he looked really out of condition, and he was adding dates to try and notch up to Prince's record of doing so many dates in the UK consecutively in one area. I don't know. You would have thought first you get yourself fit, first you get yourself healthy, then you start talking about doing a tour. Not announce you're going to do a tour while you're not healthy and then try and get healthy for it. Don't know. Strange. But then that was Michael Jackson, wasn't it? Michael was the best in the world in my opinion. He needed the money, that's why he was going to do the tour. He was in debt. Couldn't he have just recorded a new album? I'm sure that would have been enough. Oh God, would that mean we're going to have to put up with that as well? Did he finish it? I doubt it. Well, you never know. He might have done enough for some producer to come along and rehash it a little bit. They'll be releasing a single soon then, won't they? Sony paid big money for him. Over $1 billion. Really? Wow. Well, I wonder why they did that. Maybe that was part of his contracts to do tour. Because I mean his last album, was that 7 years ago or something? I mean, it didn't do very well, did it? And all the scandals that were coming out, and his own eccentricities, were making him very unviable. So I'm surprised that Sony would. I think Sony paid that much money because they wanted his, probably his record rights, and I know they got the Beatles stuff, a lot percentage of that from him. So I suspect that made it a better deal than it was. Scandals are normal for people like him and Elvis doing that. Yeah, but Michael's scandals were a little bit worse than Elvis's scandals, weren't they? I mean, they are too numerous to mention Michael's scandals and eccentricities. You think they're awful? Yes. He was, he's one of these people that was really, really talented, and he had a talent. Thriller, I like that album, and a few of the others, but unfortunately I don't know what happened to him. Maybe the fame, maybe whatever happened in his childhood came out. I've no idea. I suspect it was maybe more to do with the fact that because he was so famous, it gave him the freedom to do whatever he wanted, and etc., and just lost the plot. But it's strange. It's unfortunate, because he fits, like I said to you before, this Citizen Kane thing, where which was based on was it Randolph Hearst, where you get someone who becomes really, really famous, becomes the most they can be. And then from then onwards, and maybe it's the only way they can go, they just slide down and they end up with nothing. Like a gambler in a way, isn't it? It's unfortunate. Maybe he needed better people around him to advise him, but yeah, I suppose if he had happiness in what he did, then it would make up for any loss that he made, but I don't know how happy he really was. Anyway, there you go. It's not clear cut, is it? It's easy to follow labels, thinking they're true when you don't really know. Do you ever watch Big Brother, says Flavor? Yes, I do. Isn't Shri annoying? When is he going to go?